It's how we run our podcast. What do you want?
We're fucking professionals.
That's what we fucking do.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the BREWDCAST. I am, as always,
Pepsi Phil.
Gal Robinson. With us tonight is Leon Robinson. Say hi, Leon.
Hi, Leon.
Leon, who definitely does not have insider contacts with WWE Shop. Definitely does not.
Yeah.
Also with us tonight is the Town Drunk. How you doing, Town?
I'm counting.
Yeah.
Downing.
I forgot to ask before we started this. Do we want to get into Pepsi Phil right away, or do we want to save that? I mean, we have
I think we got to go on Pepsi Phil.
Okay.
I think that's where we got to start. I think just that interview was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
His take on things was different. And obviously, both sides of it are going to have different takes. Him saying, "I was being professional. I only choked the guy."
Oh my god.
Spot on. I don't know that I disagreed with everything he said. I think his recollection of the events that happened and his goal to paint himself in a better picture, yeah. But I think when he talks about Tony Khan and that lack of leadership, I think we all kind of see that.
I think generally speaking, the internet wrestling community agrees with that.
Yeah.
And at the very least, this corner of the internet wrestling community agrees with that, because we've been saying it since this happened, if not a week or two after.
And Punk's
may I just say that that's the kind of thing that I was saying, like, before Pepsi Phil even landed in AEW, like back when they opened. I kind of was skeptical about them having him and a couple of wrestlers being in charge, and that's about it. Sorry, continue.
Well, I don't think that's not my personal issue. I think having wrestlers there, and I've said this before, I think having wrestlers in an executive position made sense at the time. I think the issue I have, particularly when Punk was in office, because apparently he was a consultant too, was that they didn't have anybody doing the hard jobs. He wasn't delegating. Tony Khan was doing everything. And as Punk pointed out, Tony Khan's a nice guy. I don't know that that's true anymore. Not that he's not a nice guy, but I'm sure he's still a nice guy. I don't know that it's true anymore that he doesn't delegate. Because I think the cuts that happened this week, I don't think those were him. But we can talk about that later.
What an interesting time to have cuts.
Yeah.
I think
News-wise, it was a good time to bury him.
Yeah. I think that Punk is... I think part of the problem with the wrestlers being in charge was that the Young Bucks were in charge, and Omega was in charge, and Jon Moxley's in charge, and CM Punk is in charge. You know what I mean? You have there's too many cooks in the kitchen type of deal. And when this first happened, I kind of said one of the issues here is it reminds me almost of Shawn Michaels and Hogan back in SummerSlam, that match where Michaels just oversold the shit out for Hogan because he was pissed because he had to lose. It's almost like that, because the Bucks and Omega are kind of just there. I'm not saying they're playing the same political games as Hogan, because I don't think they were, but they were kind of calling the shot. Yeah, you think that, but you're fucking Mark. But they're there. They get to call the shots. They kind of have that straight line to Tony, and this other guy comes in, and it became a pissing match. And I think at the end of the day, it was a pissing match. And they never, Tony Khan never stepped in and never like, hey, we got to fucking deal with this. We got to be adults. And that I think is my issue with Tony Khan, is he didn't step in and he wasn't a leader, because sometimes being a leader sucks. Sometimes being the one in charge sucks. You have to make calls that are really, really fucking hard. and you have to do shit that people aren't going to like.
Mhm.
And he wasn't able to do that because he wanted to cater to everybody. That doesn't work in any way.
I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying. So I had a very similar take as you. I watched this damn thing 2 times. I almost watched it 3 times, which would have been a terrible idea. The first time around, I had the same takes as you. I'm like, yeah, most of this stuff checks out because I'm like, we have talked about what happened and what we think happened in the back, and a lot of what Phil was saying was tracking with what we thought happened, and a lot of like the accounts that were
Can I cut in real quick?
Sure.
I'm not justifying what happened based on Tony Khan. What happened is CM Punk. That's not what I'm not trying to say that. This whole thing was Tony Khan's fault. I'm saying Tony Khan not stepping in and kind of being the leader. The behavior is still on CM Punk.
Yes. Especially that last bit, especially the last thing. Upon thinking about this interview and having it like sit in my brain, I was like, I need to watch it again because I needed to have it with fresh eyes, look at it with fresh eyes. And the thing that gets me with this podcast, or not this podcast, with this interview, is that he doesn't, in fact, take any of the blame. He always pushes it off on the Elite or on Tony Khan or on Hangman. And I get that there's some blame to be had there, but he had his fair share as well.
Yeah, that was the takeaway I had too.
There was a lot of like this sort of, I don't know if double talk is the right word, where he would say things like, they are catering to this tiny internet wrestling community.
Yeah.
Or the crack where he said, if all that they're interested in is putting on 5-star matches for some goof on the internet, and they only sold a quarter of the house, then we're in a different business, which to some extent is true. But what he's trying to say is they're not a business because they're not doing business the way Punk thinks that they should do business, which is the whole point of AEW. I think that's the thing that we get really excited about with AEW is that they're trying to change things in the business, this being one of them. The way that things are handled in the back. Now, they did not handle it well. But I don't think CM Punk running around, Bruiser Brody hitting people in the face, thank you for that line, Punk, I don't think that's the way to do it either. It was, at one point in time, it's not a good way to deal with things, and I think that they are trying to change that.
I also find it interesting, because I agree with everything you said. I also find it interesting that they're doing this now, and this narrative is out now, and the response, because Tony's a Facebook aficionado of really bad wrestling groups on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
They just pop up and I read them. That's why they keep popping up. To have it be so just cut down the middle, it's either Punk, you can't come out here and say, you can't come out here and not take any of the blame and act like it's all their fault. You shut up. Then the other side of it was, yeah, he's right. You can't run a business. They're out of business. This is it. Mm-hmm. So it just the wide gap in what's going on. There's starting to be a small group that I'm seeing that is more like, can we not just enjoy all of this?
Yeah.
And I think that's where I think that's where I fall. I just want to enjoy it. If wrestling's good, great. I don't care what channel it's on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's this like hardcore troll war going on, and I think WWE is feeding that beast because it helps them, and AEW is trying to fight that beast, and that'll probably rolls into the Adam Copeland promo tonight.
Before we go to that, I'm going to do something very uncharacteristic of me and give WWE potentially a pass. Because I know that CM Punk and Ariel Helwani have a relationship. They have had interviews in the past, and Punk knew that Ariel was going to say some shit. He was going to ask these questions. he could have just shut up. He didn't have to say anything. I get the sense that maybe WWE did not want these responses. They maybe don't care one way or the other. I don't think they were upset that CM Punk responded the way that he did. But I think CM Punk came in knowing what he was going to say to some extent, and Ariel Helwani knew what he was going to ask. And the two of them knew that they were going to get a response like this.
On this one, probably this one kind of reeks of Punk going into business for Punk. But I do think at the same time that WWE is having a grand old time taking shots at AEW. However, they can.
Sure, yeah,
that's
true. That's true.
I think any way they could stick it to him right now, because 3 years ago, WWE was getting shit on. 2 years ago, they were getting shit on pretty hard by everybody for how bad they were, and AEW was blowing them out of the water. So I think they're kind of reveling in this. Here we are.
Yeah.
I don't think the gap is like what it was. Like it used to be AEW was 4, 5, 6, 7 times better than WWE. Now I think it's WWE's ahead. I'm not going to deny that. They're doing better. But no, the Punk interview just kind of reeked of, I know the fans that like me are going to eat this up. And I'm going to look like a hero, and I'm going to look like this, and I'm going to look like that. So I think he did it for his own. I think he did it for his own benefit.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't think it makes him look good. But again, I don't think anything he's done in the past fucking year and a half, 2 years has made him look good.
I think it makes him look good to his audience, like you were saying. I think,
but his audience, for a guy who acted like it wasn't, his audience is WWE.
Yeah.
Those are his people. Those are the people that eat out of his hands. Those people in WWE that think they're edgy and cool and smart. That post weird shit on Facebook. I think it made fun of by town. Bastards. I don't know. I don't know that I liked the Copeland promo.
Okay.
I liked the message. And I like the delivery, and I think that was great, but it feels like a PR saving face stunt.
Ooh,
that's kind of the vibe.
I didn't read it that way. I read it very much as like Moxley after Brawl Out. Not the same vibe, obviously, and it wasn't like leading into a match. He just came out and he was like it read to me as Cope showed up tonight and said, I got some shit I want to say. Can I say it, Tony? And Tony said, go ahead. And I don't think it was a bad promo. I don't know that it was necessarily a promo, to be honest. But I appreciated it. And I appreciated that he was going out there and hyping up the AEW fans to say, look, yeah, this shit happened, but we're still fucking here.
Yeah. I just think it was, I don't know, it felt, and maybe that's just the nature of all the shit that happened this week.
Yeah.
That probably is what it is.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think it was necessarily a bad promo. I just was kind of like, this feels a little cringe.
That's fair. Yeah, I get that now.
Yeah. What a weird week. What a weird week.
Yeah.
Just when I think we're going to be done with Fragile Phil.
We're never done with Fragile Phil. This is the number one fan podcast. He lives fucking rent free in our heads. He does. Yeah.
Just rent free.
He does.
In every wrestling fan's head though, because it's like you can hate him and think he's a dick, but then at the same time anything he does, you're like, oh, he's such a polarizing guy. He really is.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to him for that, I guess. I don't think it's good. This is really in the past few years, some personality flaws have kind of come out for him, I think, in a more public way. Because he's always been a dick and hard to work with. I think that's pretty clear. But now it's like, I just think back to him in like the early 2000s, mid 2000s in WWE. Like if he would have pulled that shit on The Undertaker would have beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Bradshaw would have beat the shit out of him. Like these guys that are a lot bigger than him. And it's just like, he goes somewhere else where he's kind of the one in charge, and he's just a bully.
It certainly seems that way.
He's
Yeah.
just a bully. Out of all that shit, he's just a bully. He's beating fucking people up.
Mm-hmm.
I get not getting along, and I get calling people assholes. But when you just start like physically assaulting people numerous times at your job,
that's the big thing. Is like he instigated both of those instances of fighting, and you can say, yeah, Jack Perry was talking some shit. You can say that Nicholas and Matthew came into his locker room on fire. We don't know how much. We don't know what the extent of either of those things are necessarily. But throwing hands is a big step from, hey, this guy's getting in my face. You know what I mean? Like it's.
I have a question for Leon. Okay, because I think Leon, you are the biggest Punk fan here. You would agree with that statement?
That is an accurate statement, sir.
Okay, so your story has always been this is the Young Bucks' fault because they were poking the bear.
Somebody was bigger and more popular with their type of fans than they were, and they could not have that shit.
Which, fine, I'm not going to argue that point. What I'm going to say is you're our resident CM Punk mark to a degree.
Correct, sir.
A large degree.
Yeah.
Do you think his behavior over the past 2 years, has that made you look at him any differently? Or do you still see him as he's totally fine, he's justified, he should be able to beat the shit out of those guys? Or are you now kind of sitting here like, dude, you're kind of a dick? Like, where are you at?
I mean, I've always known he's kind of a dick. I just don't like the fact that it's now he's letting it cost himself work. He's letting it cost us whatever he could have done there, whatever else he could have done, like the fucking the MJF title thing that they were obviously building towards. That's the stuff that bothers me now, because he's letting it affect the product. Like he's always been a fucking like his bio on fucking Twitter's always been, what was it, straight edge sociopath, lovable jerk. Like, yeah, he's an asshole. You know, he always has been. But it's like you said, it's lovable jerk. It's stuff you can get behind. But
yeah, but you still
he's been
fucking
up the product and everything now. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
As a CM Punk fan, are you happy with him in WWE, or would you rather have him in AEW?
I don't know which one I'd rather have him in, to be perfectly honest with you, because I think both of them are pretty much. I mean, obviously it's WWE, so they're not going to give him free reign. But I think both of them have been giving him plenty of, and have given plenty of leeway for him to do his thing, to go out there and have that microphone in his hand when he's not fucking hurt, to go out there and have matches. I know.
Now you're poking the bear.
Yeah.
I'm not poking any bear. I'm not poking any bear.
He done gets hurt. I know. It is what it is.
I was talking to Leon. He was poking the bear.
Body's falling apart.
I really,
yeah, I know.
The statement he made about UFC going there, I did it. I fought. I lost, but I don't care. Like, I'm proud of what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, and I give him all the credit in the world for doing that. It's a ballsy move. That shit's hard.
Mm-hmm.
With no fucking fighting experience.
Yeah, I mean, that was
just a bunch of BJJ and Muay Thai training.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
And he fought like Mickey Gall, who is a killer, and it's like, yeah, you're gonna get killed in this fight, but we're gonna watch. Like, that part I agree with. I just think I think the big takeaway I had, Bud, is the same thing you did. Nothing's his fault.
Yeah.
And then I remember back to when he left WWE and did Colt Cabana's podcast. Nothing was his fault.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's who he is nothing's ever his fault. When something bad happens, it's always somebody else.
It's always deflected. It's always undercut by something else that happened to him or whatever. Like,
we're all nodding in agreement for like this is bizarre because usually it's like CM Punk time. We have to like afterwards talk to each other and like restore our friendship. We get so fucking mad. But
it's true. That's where the brownies come in.
He's. I mean, it just seems like he's always been the dude that can tell a story and tell it his way.
Yeah,
very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I think that's one of the reasons why, myself included, so many people have been such staunch defenders of him and such fans of his work and stuff he does inside and out the ring, because he's a hell of a storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
It's been interesting. There's the interview was. It just feels like rehashing because I don't think anything really truly. Like I said, the thing where he said I was being professional, I just choked him at.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is like, well, if I went to work and choked somebody, I wouldn't. I would go to jail.
Choked him a little bit, and then he went on
a little bit,
and then he went on to point out that I'm not going to talk about Tony Khan's emotions. I can't explain his emotions, but I didn't do anything to make him feel threatened in the way that he said. And I'm like, really? Like that's really not fair. Because I don't think what happened was CM Punk walked up to Jack Perry, all kind of nice, choked him for a second. Samoa Joe said stop, and he just stopped, and he was like, Tony Khan, I quit. But that's how he's selling it, and that's frustrating. It's frustrating to see what you're talking about. We're seeing these personality cracks, like the cracks into his personality that are clearly not. We're seeing a side of him that we have not seen before, and it's really frustrating because when you have somebody who you've looked up to, whose work you've enjoyed for so long, and you're starting to see these little bits of them that you really don't like. And I'm not even talking like, oh, he grinds his teeth or whatever. Like things that make you
serious personality flaws.
Yes, like things that would get you kicked out of a bar or something. Like
for me, the way that he is a proponent of some very important social issues. I don't want to go into depth on what they are because I don't want to turn this into that podcast. But he's very he's got a very, very modern view on things, and he's got a very hey, this is a victim, let's understand that this is a victim. And he's all for victim rights, all for victim support, yet here he is being someone who committed an assault, and he's victim blaming and making himself out to be the victim. And I was like, dude, come on. That I struggle with. That part I struggle with.
It is. Yeah. I was expecting to come on here that first time I watched the interview. I was expecting to come on here and be like, you know what? I've been too hard on him. I'm sorry. Leon, I'm on board with you. And it was just it just took overnight. And I was like, wait a second. Hold on.
Why did you have to watch it the second time? Gosh darn it, gal.
On that note, I also watched...
We could have tag team town.
That sounds dirty.
You'd still lose.
It did.
Lose.
On that note, but moving on a little bit.
Today I'm the sandwich meat.
The same show, not the exact same show, but the Ariel Helwani MMA, whatever the fuck they call it. He also had on Cody Rhodes, and he asked Cody Rhodes, "What do you think of these things that CM Punk talked about?" And he Cody, to his credit, doubled down, and he said, I don't know what his experience was. I wasn't there, but my experience, it's a great place to work. And he talked up Chris and Tony and everybody who was in the room creating AEW. And I was like, oh, I love you too. I love you, Cody. Because it's just amazing that they he still speaks their name and they still speak his. That speaks volumes as to how much respect they have for that man.
And I think it's vice versa. I think he has respect for that company too. Stuff like that's good to see. I think there's a lot of bitterness, and especially in this business, and there is a desire to create a war when there doesn't need to be. Fans are just naturally going to do that. And I think a lot of that is going on. But I think deep down, the best thing that ever happened to WWE was AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had to get up off their ass and do something.
Absolutely.
Otherwise,
it's almost like we had been saying something like that for about 20 years or so.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's true. Like, it needed to happen.
It did, and it's been good for the business. I think even Triple H said
AEW for the business.
AEW is good for the business. Yeah.
I don't know if he'd ever say that. Has he ever said that?
I think he might have in some roundabout way.
I mean, he's
probably not directly mentioning their name or anything, but like saying, more companies, more wrestling is good. Mm-hmm. Yes, that one.
Yeah. What did
breeds innovation?
Oh, by the way, Orange Cassidy got turned on.
Yeah.
I called that. I loved how they did it. I love that Sue was there.
Speaking of sexual, Orange Cassidy got turned on. I just changed the inflection a little bit. Carry on. We can talk about that.
Well played, gal. Well played.
Oh, my word.
My mind is in the gutter. You're just going to have to deal with it.
A heel turn was performed on Orange Cassidy.
Town is tired. Town is tired. He is hurt, and he works with fucking children.
Guilty.
I'm old. I'm hurt. I'm fucking tired, and I work with fucking children.
I tell you what.
Hold on. When CM Punk said that was a top 3 Punk promo of all time,
yeah, he's not wrong.
He's not fucking kidding.
Not wrong.
That was number 1.
Yeah.
That was the greatest Punk promo I've ever heard. That was better than the fucking pipe bomb.
He wasn't wrong. He's not wrong at all.
That was gold.
No, tell us when he is telling lies.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of what he said in that interview probably would have fallen on the lie scale, but
blurring the line.
I like the turn tonight. I think you do those two at the pay-per-view. I think that'd be a good match. I think it'd be something for him. I think that Trent has to beat Orange.
Do you think they're going to do that match, Dynasty?
I think so. You have to. And I think you have Trent win. I think Trent can go on a run, but Trent needs that rub. And I think right now Orange Cassidy can give it to him.
Interesting. Because I hadn't thought of that. And you're right. But I also see it going the other way and Trent just disappearing. Like that's
why Trent has to win. Because if he goes out there and gets beat, then he's cannon fodder and he's gone.
But they've done that before.
I know they have.
There's precedent here.
But I'm acting like they're not going to do that.
That kind of turn has always bit them in the ass because they don't do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing they got to run with.
Capitalized on it. Like this is a group that's been together since before the inception of the fucking company, and you're going to have one of them turn on the other. Make it mean something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what we need. That's kind of what my thought is with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Trent can fucking go. Like he can do some amazing shit, and it's just we just gotta. I mean, I think that's a great thing. I think you've said it more than once that he needs to get out of Orange's shadow in order to get better steam, and that's what he's doing. And I love it. I'm here for it. I just hope they do something with it. Do we want to talk about the cuts?
Yeah, I suppose we have to. What a time to have cuts, huh?
It's eerily. I gotta tell you, those two things happening on April 1st really fucked me up. I was like, are these jokes? Was the CM Punk thing a joke? Are the cuts a joke? Like, what the fuck? I gotta say the one that surprises me, I think, the most, and I think most people, is Anthony Henry. Because it makes me wonder what they're gonna do with JD Drake. They were giving them a push. Like, they were giving Workhorsemen a push. And I don't know why they didn't. I mean, I guess I do understand why they didn't get rid of both of them. But I don't know. I'm not sure what they're going to do from here.
Yeah, that's my question too. Is I don't know. I don't know. They have so many people that they're not using.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at those cuts and I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Because they have so many.
And they can say that they can say they were at AEW. They'll get a bigger, they'll get a bigger payday from the indies or whatever they decide to do.
Yeah.
Which is great. I think Parker Boudreaux too. That was kind of shocking to me because he has the look.
No, but he can't do anything. He doesn't have it. He looks like Brock, but he's just not.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
He's not. If you watch him in the ring, he's completely just. He needs to go back to wrestling school and try to train again. And I think part of that is the WWE Performance Center doesn't really train you to be a wrestler. They train you to be a superstar.
Yeah.
So
million dollar appearance, 10-cent ability.
I hope that's not true anymore. Now that Trips has kind of taken the reins, Shawn Michaels has taken the reins.
Oh, come on, that's true still.
I mean, Shawn does have.
They're not training them. They are not training them to be good wrestlers anywhere else. They're training them to be a WWE superstar on TV and to shine up their product.
You forget how good Shawn Michaels was at that WWE style.
That's good. That's a good point. Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's one of them that made that style.
He really is.
That's true. I guess I never thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm. Him and Hart kind of helped shape that. And then the Attitude Era, Austin and those guys
Mm-hmm.
came in and gave it a little boost. But
Mm-hmm.
you're not so good. The cuts were just kind of like, cuts suck, but like those guys aren't doing anything. Yeah, probably can stand to lose a few people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're paying Mercedes a lot of fucking money.
I mean, there is that. Yes.
And Kazuchika and William.
Oh God, yes. Yeah, they're paying a lot of big contracts. It makes sense.
Yeah,
and I would be willing
those
to
three
bet.
contracts are fucking huge.
Mm-hmm. I would not be shocked if they did some more cuts later in the year.
At least until they get that sweet Max money coming in.
That's true. Wait, Maxwell Jacob Friedman or Max the streaming service? I guess maybe both.
Yeah, both. For sure, both.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, did you see who poked his head out of fucking nothingness?
MJF?
I believe I posted his tweet in our chat. Yeah.
Oh yeah, with the one where he took the shot at The Rock. Yeah.
Yeah, which is just absolute him doing that the week of Mania to a guy who's main eventing one of the nights just gets the shit stirring. It was brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a similar I almost think he's doing a similar thing to what Punk is doing, but he's not shit talking another company. He's not sitting there saying, "Rock, you're a piece of shit." In fact, he said he's a fan of The Rock. Whatever.
Yeah, stop copying me. Stay out of my life.
Stop copying me. Oh,
I had no idea that Max's ex-fiance was a fucking artist. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I did.
Max can be back soon.
Apparently, Rock's buying some art from her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because he really liked the piece that she did.
It was a dope piece. I saw it. It was pretty. It's pretty dope.
It was. Yeah, let's end this thing.
Yeah.
This is getting crazy.
This has been the Brewdcast.
Out of here.
I have been Gal. This has been pointing the wrong way. This has been Town and Leon, and we've been talking about the man who we never talk about, Phil.
Never ever.
What's his last name?
Fragile episode of the Brewdcast.
Fragile.